From Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
On News Hour tonight, SANU, NASU suspend strike action for 2 months. NBC gives shutdown broadcast stations till Tuesday to pay debts. Traders count losses as Borno government demolishes cattle market. And on the foreign scene, Washington boosts military aid to Ukraine as strikes continue in the east. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Hour. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Now the news in full. The Senior Staff Association of Nigeria Universities and the Non-Academic Staff Union of Allied and Education Institutions on Saturday announced the suspension of their ongoing strike for a period of 2 months. SANU's National President Muhammad Ibrahim disclosed this in Abuja. The unions had called for the renegotiation of the 2009 agreement, payment of earned allowances, usurpation of non-academic career positions by vice-chancellors, the inclusion of university staff schooled into the university community, non-payment of minimum wage arrears, and funding of state universities. The strike by SANU and NASU has led to suspension in the issuance of academic transcripts and mobilization of graduates for the compulsory one-year service organized by the National Youth Service Corps. The National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, says at least 225 communities across 31 local government areas in Kano and Jigawa states have been affected by flooding. Coordinator of NEMA Territorial Office in Kano, Nuruddin Abdullahi, stated this while briefing newsmen in Kano on Saturday. He said heavy and prolonged rainfall since July had resulted in severe and extensive flooding in many communities in northern Nigeria. NEMA called on residents and stakeholders to take proactive measures to avert incessant flooding currently ravaging various communities. Abducted Nasarawa State Commissioner for Information, Culture and Tourism, Alhaji Lawal Yakubu, who was earlier released on Thursday, has reunited with his family after completing medical examination at an undisclosed facility. The Nasarawa State Police Public Relations Officer, Ramhan Nansel, who confirmed the release of the commissioner in a telephone interview with journalists on Friday, said the development followed sustained pressure of combined security operatives on the kidnappers. Abubakar Abdullahi gives an update on the situation.
Endorsed by one of their brother to the victims, Abdullahi Umar Gali, confirming that he has been released. So I now called them. They now informed me that he is in one of the hospitals in Lafia. And I visited him in that hospital. I saw him on his bed. So we discussed for about 40 minutes with the Release Information Commissioner, Lawal Yakubu. So he narrated his ordeal to me, though I cannot record him because he said he don't want to be recorded. But he said I saw him on his bed and he's well ahead. When I asked whether he's feeling any illness, he said no, that he's feeling fine and he's expected to be discharged today, possible. And the source that I got the information that he was in the hospital, I tried to establish whether ransom was paid. Because they said that they cannot say anything about it. The other sources have confirmed to us that ransom was paid. But family members said they cannot say anything about that. So he's already released. Right now he's in one of the hospitals in Lafia here, receiving medication. And in my discussion with him, he said he may likely be discharged. And don't forget, this is the second time the victim is being kidnapped. In 2020, he was kidnapped in Nasarawa, Igon. That is where he's staying. So this is the second time he's been kidnapped by the abductors. And the information from the PPR of the police command here, he said it was the effort of the police command because they've been tracking the abductors and they are able to get him released. That I asked him whether he can resume work, and he said no, he will take time. He will have to rest before he will start attending to office issues. That if he decides he will stay at home for some time before start coming to work. But when I saw him, his condition is okay, as he explained to me.
Meanwhile, the police in Zamfara State have begun discreet investigations into the death of a lawyer who was reportedly shot dead at the Gusau bypass. Zamfara State Police Public Relations Officer Muhammad Shehu told Trust TV that investigations had commenced to not only unravel the circumstances surrounding the killing, but also reveal the perpetrators with a view to apprehending them and making them face justice. The victim, Benedict Aza, who was killed on Thursday night, is the principal associate, Benedict Tonji Association Legal Practitioners, Gusau in Zamfara State. Sources within the area said the gunman wanted to kidnap the victim in his residence at Saminaka area behind Federal Road Safety Corps by bypass in Gusau metropolis, but he was able to escape with his car. The gunman later chased the lawyer to the expressway where they shot him dead. And gunmen on Saturday killed a Yobe-based Islamic scholar, Sheikh Gwani Aisami Gashua, at Jajimaji, the headquarters of Karasua local government area of the state. The cleric was said to be traveling from Gashua to Kano when he was followed in a bus by the attackers. Some Gashua residents said the incident happened around 10 a.m. at Jajimaji, a distance of less than 30 kilometers from Gashua, the hometown of the Senate President, Ahmad Lawan. Police spokesman in the state, DSP Dungus Abdul Karim, said the suspects wielding AK-47 rifles have been arrested and are in police custody. And still talking security, police operatives attached to Kurfi Divisional Police Headquarters have repelled a terrorist attack and have put down a number of unspecified attackers in the process. About 40 terrorists armed with AK-47 rifles attacked Wapa village in Kurfi local government area and whisked away 2 persons who were rescued in a counter-attack. Abdullahi Yamadi has details on this and other happenings in Katsina.
Responding to a distress call from the affected villagers, the divisional police officer in Kurfi mobilized his men, blocked all the exit routes to and from Wapa village. Moving forward, the tactical operatives, with the support of vigilantes and people from the surrounding communities, engaged the terrorists in gun battle and rescued the kidnapped victims. Many of the terrorists were killed and several others escaped with gunshot wounds during the encounter. The police are now combing the nearby bushes with a view to recovering the wounded and the dead bodies of the terrorists. We need to have an accurate information and a collaboration that works between security operatives and communities, especially on the bandit movement. The synergy must continue until the terrorists are defeated. The rescued victims have since reunited with their families, thanking the police operatives of Kurfi Local Government Division for their quick response. We were attacked and abducted by unknown gunmen, and as God would have it, we were rescued. The police and our local vigilantes responded swiftly. Many thanks to all of them. The police and other local vigilantes deserve commendation, but our state actors, a lot needs to be done. Many communities no longer sleep. We are always at work, maintaining vigilance throughout the day and night. We are exhausted. The successful rescue operation is a clear indication that collaboration between security personnel and communities affected by the phenomenon will lead to the terrorists being defeated. Abdullahi Ismail Ahmadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
Meanwhile, the police in Osun on Saturday confirmed that the convoy of wife of Osun State Governor Kafayat Oyetola was attacked by hoodlums on Friday at Owode in Ede. In a statement, police spokesperson Yemisi Okpalola said one security personnel on the convoy was injured. Added that the 5 suspects were arrested by the police in connection with the attack. And police operatives in Kaduna State have arrested a 20-year-old bandit with 2 AK-47 rifles at Galadima community in Giwa local government area of the state. Spokesman of the Kaduna State Police Command, Muhammad Jaligi, said in a statement that the bandit was arrested by police operatives of Operation Restore Peace. He said the operatives, acting on credible intelligence, dislodged an identified kidnapper's den at Galadima Forest after engaging the bandits in a gun duel. Jaligi said the operatives recovered 2 AK-47 rifles and 5 rounds of live ammunition as well as handsets. The suspect is currently undergoing investigation while operatives are still in pursuit of his fleeing gang members. And as this year's farming season continues, farmers in Guru local government area of Yobe State may be at the risk of conflict with Fulani herdsmen following the disappearance of open grazing areas across the state. Trust TV correspondent Idris Jibrun reports that last year, farm produce worth billions of naira were destroyed following farmers-herders conflict in Guru town. His report.
This is called brutally among the locals in northern Nigeria, an open grazing area used by the Fulani herdsmen to travel and graze their cattle without necessarily crossing over to farmland. But this is disappearing these days.
For instance, this open grazing area is very important for the Fulani herders, which they used to travel and graze their animals. But today there is little or no grazing areas. That is why we always have issues with the Fulani herders.
According to All Farmers Association in Guru local government area of Yobe State, several farmlands were destroyed during the last farming season following a conflict between the livestock owners and those growing crops. Now the Fulani herders have arrived again, and farmers may be at risk of losing either their lives or their farm produce.
Last year, we had serious problem with the Fulani herders. They destroy our rice and other farm produce. This year too, we are still having problem with them there and there.
But the state government is assuring that adequate security measures have been put in place to prevent violence between farmers and herders around the area.
You see, last year we had farmer-herders conflict because of low rainfall, which led to inadequate feed for the herders. But this year, we had worked on our dam to help supplement the rainfall. Therefore, I'm assuring you that our farmers are safe this year.
Although Guru is agriculturally viable, but the gradual and continued disappearance of these open grazing areas may likely continue to threaten agricultural activities around the area. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News, Yobe.
The Nigerian Army has urged the public to disregard the report by an online medium that 234 soldiers withdrew from the army due to corruption and low morale, among other factors. An online platform had reported that none of the 234 soldiers had reached the mandatory retirement age. But responding in a statement, Army spokesman Brigadier General Onyema Nwachukwu described the report as a concoction of the imagination of the unrepentant enemies of the nation and mischief makers, which should be ignored by the public. Nwachukwu said voluntary retirement is a routine exercise in the army, adding that it is within the rights of soldiers to withdraw from the service when they deem it fit and if such requests meet certain conditions. And following the intervention of the Nigerian chapter of the International Press Institute, the National Broadcasting Commission (NBC) has suspended the revocation of the operating licenses of 52 broadcast stations owing various sums in licensing fees. The NBC now has given the affected stations up to 6 p.m. on Tuesday, August 23rd, to pay up their debts. In revoking the licenses on Friday, the Commission had ordered the stations off air beginning this Saturday, citing Section 10A of the third schedule of the National Broadcasting Commission Act, Cap N11, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004. After the announcement, IPI Nigeria engaged the Ministry of Information and Culture, the NBC, and the Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria to explore an amicable resolution of the dispute, leading to the suspension of the ban. Meanwhile, the Radio, Television, Theatre and Arts Workers Union of Nigeria, RATAU, on Saturday said the revocation of radio and television stations' licenses can escalate current security challenges in the country. Secretary General of RATAU, A. Akpawson, in a statement said the ravaging insecurity of lives and property requires the Nigerian state to make information flow as free as possible. Akpawson urged the regulatory agency to be lenient with most of the defaulting stations as they are yet to recover from the impact of the COVID-19 shock. The RATAU scribe also called on the federal government to give special COVID-19 palliatives to the broadcast stations, considering the laudable role they played during the lockdown, rather than shutting them down. And following the revocation of the license of the Gombe Media Corporation (GMC) by the National Broadcasting Commission, the Gombe state-owned broadcaster says its stations will be back on air within the next 72 hours. Speaking to Trust TV in Gombe, the Director General, Gombe Media Corporation, Kabir Ibn Muhammad, said payment for license renewal is being processed to that effect. Ibrahim Ismail reports.
Gombe Media Corporation is a pioneer radio and television broadcaster in Gombe State. The state-run media organization is owing the National Broadcasting Commission (NBC) license renewal fees for almost 8 years.
The amount is almost inherited because the previous government have been defaulters for about 8 years or 10 years. Because it backdates to 2013 to date. So they have not settled anything. So we have just come, and everyone within the state and even outside knows how we came in with a lot of financial problems in the state. We have already processed. I believe even the immediate last executive council, a mention was made about the license fee, and the governor is ready to make payments immediately. But unfortunately, today they have taken us by surprise, I can say, because they have given us actually a grace of time. That is why we took our time to also process.
Media experts say the revocation of the license of GMC and other broadcasters in the country by the regulator will affect smooth flow of information to Nigerians.
I know there are a lot of stations in Nigeria that are not paying or updating their license, but I think the timing is wrongly, and I want to believe that this is not the right time for NBC to take such a decision. But if you look at it, the situation we found ourselves, especially in the media cycle, despite the fact that we were having a lot of issues, most of the media outlets were affected because of these issues of COVID, and we all know what happened globally. And at the same time, the recent one was as a result of this issue, crisis between, or war between Ukraine and Russia. We all know that it has affected the economy, and I believe that is why, I don't want to speak for the media outlets, but I believe that is one of the reasons why media outlets cannot afford to pay or renew their license.
On Friday, the National Broadcasting Commission (NBC) revoked licenses of more than 50 broadcast stations across the country over failure to renew operational licenses. The unpaid debt amounts to over 2 billion naira. From Gombe, Ibrahim Ismail reporting for Trust TV.
You're watching Trust TV News Hour. And still to come on the news, how blight disease decimates potato harvest. Details of this and more after the break. Please stay with us.
Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us on Trust TV News Hour. Now a recap of our top stories. SANU, NASU suspend strike action for 2 months. And NBC gives shut-down broadcast stations till Tuesday to pay debts. And moving on to other news now. Hundreds of shop owners are counting their losses after witnessing their structures being demolished at Kasuwan Shanu in Maiduguri. The market is the largest animal market in Borno State, where customers come from afar to buy and sell. The report.
The cattle market in Maiduguri is fondly called Kasuwan Shanu and has been a center of attraction for cattle dealers. Today, hundreds of shops have been demolished for reasons the traders described as owing none to the government. The demolition has caused other traders to fear for their goods and as they are uncertain about what happens next. Modu Bukar, who runs a restroom facility that was partially brought down, said he and his colleagues were given few hours to vacate before the demolition exercise. Now I'm jobless because I cater for my family with what I get here. At this moment, I rely on God's hand. I engage in farming. I stopped because of age. I seriously want the government to do something. They destroyed our shops without compensation. They didn't tell us where to relocate. We have been into cattle business for 50 years. We call on the government to intervene because we are not happy.
As we know, the economic hardship facing a lot of us in Nigeria, which is largely due to the incompetence of the APC administration And for them to take such actions, I think is really not appropriate at this time. They should have given ample time, given ample opportunity to remove their goods, and then be given like another place where they can temporarily put their sheets and sell their wares.
There are fears that with the market gradually transforming to an open field, it could signal the closure of Kasuan Shanu market. However, some traders believe that whether or not the market is closed, business will continue in the open.
Now, Plateau State Irish potato farmers have been thrown into disarray following attack on their crops by the blight disease. The farmers, who are counting their losses, says if nothing is urgently done, they may not be able to grow the crop next year. Now, this is because, apart from the losses in terms of using the crop for food and income, they lack seedlings for next year's planting. Dixon Adama reports.
Plateau State is known to be the leading state in Irish potato production in the country. Farmers engage in farming Irish potato alongside other crops, as people from all parts of the country buy from them. But the major impediment to the crop cultivation is a disease which attacks the crop and seems to defy efforts towards arresting it. Since the 2017-2018 widespread disease attack on Irish potato farms in most parts of Plateau State, the farmers have enjoyed better farming experience as they kept getting good yields and making considerable earnings from the crop. But all that has momentarily halted as the potato farms have been attacked by the deadly fungi this year and rendered the farmers devastated.
I'm a farmer. I farm Irish potato. I cultivated about 40 bags, expecting to get at least 300 bags. And even now, right now, I cannot boast of one bag. In fact, I don't know whether next year I can be able to even continue because of now serious hardship has befallen me because of this blight. How I wish the government will have concern for us and at least give us a sense of a sign of relief, such that we can at least continue to live.
We lost many of our products from farm. We lost many things like Irish potato. So this Irish, if they can help us, then we can get maybe we get more improvement.
The farm of Irish that I've been doing, in fact, this year I harvest nothing, even one, because of I don't understand the kind of sickness that came into the Irish and the Irish demolition. Demolition like that, there was no any improvement, there was no any harvesting.
Recall that at the beginning of the farming season in April-May this year, the farmers lamented the hike in Irish potato seedling, which they said affected them. This was due to the general rise in prices of goods and services across the country. With the blight disease, there seems to be no end to the travails of Irish potato farmers this year.
That was Dixon Adama's report as presented from our studio. The hair extension industry has become a highly lucrative business with diverse opportunities and continues to gain a boost, especially among the women folk. However, growth of the industry comes with a number of challenges on business owners as well as clients. Trust TV's Aisha Salihu takes a look at the economic consequences on hair extensions.
African women are popular for carrying natural hair with beautifully crafted hairstyles, which are often time-consuming and energy-sapping due to hair texture. But that has all changed today with the advent of hair extensions and wigs, among others. The urge to look younger, save cost, encourage convenience are among the reasons for investment and usage of hair extensions.
I can't say it affects my business. It's actually improved my business because most people, they braid their hair. Some people say that once they braid their hair, it damages their hair. Maybe it's because the way the stylist do the hair or is not doing it properly, it might damage the hair.
I'll tell you that we're not finding it funny here. You can like, oh, if you come the week, you can like, oh, thank God I'm going with 10,000 naira. But these days, you can see what is inside there. People are weaving their hair instead of making their hair. Like me now, sorry, I have to remove this. This is wig. Instead of braiding my hair. See what I'm talking about? So people prefer to go for wig. It's not benefiting us or anything. It's just that we are managing. Braiding hair doesn't pay more money, just that it can make you save more money.
Although hair extensions may have come to the rescue, there are complaints of the cost of products and how it has resulted into low patronage.
The price is more high, more than this is very, very expensive. It's no, people are complaining a lot. Even people come and make hair, they will just say, let's just do the weaving and go because the attachment is too much for them. Things are very expensive now.
I like to use hair extension. But right now, attach is very expensive. Before, the big one was $750. But now, the big one is like 2003. But then the small one was 350. The small attached before. Now it's 1,005. They are selling, so attached is very expensive.
The industry, which is dominated by females and has served as a source of employment, according to these entrepreneurs, risk running out of business if prices of these hair extensions do not reduce to ensure affordability. Aisha Salihu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, says Gombe State is battling a high rate of land fraud. The Deputy Commandant of the EFCC Academy stated this in an interview with newsmen after a one-day capacity building for staff of the Gombe Geographic Information System in curbing land fraud. Ibrahim Ismail reports.
The EFCC said land fraud tops the list of all scams in Gombe State and is happening on a daily basis. To tackle the menace, the EFCC Academy is partnering Gombe Geographic Information System GOGIS to build capacity for stakeholders in land administration.
Identify land fraud to be one of the major crimes, especially here in Gombe. And there's a need for the two agencies or two institutions to put heads together to sensitize both its staff to ensure that we are sailing towards the same direction, which is finding out the criminals involved in this huge crime and to ensure that it is minimized within the Gombe metropolis.
The Director General of GOGIS said the agency is collaborating with traditional institutions and relevant government agencies to curb land scams across the state.
So if you look at this issue, we cannot handle this issue alone. We have to seek for an expert, which is Economic and Financial Crime Commission, because they have some advanced gadget which they can trace the good one and the bad ones among the papers presented to us.
The senior district head of Gombe, Alhaji Abdulkadir Abubakar, is worried that traditional institutions are not adequately involved in land issues in a modern-day society.
Yawanci abubuwan da suke faruwa.
Most of the issues are very big. There must be a reform from local government.
Daga ainihin mu local government.
Committee on Land Advisory at the LGA level must be constituted. It has the chairman, the district head, and custodian of the land. To address the problem of land fraud in Gombe State, stakeholders say government agencies working in the land sector must collaborate with security agencies to checkmate document forgery. From Gombe, Ibrahim Ismail reporting for Trust TV.
The Senior Special Assistant to President Muhammadu Buhari on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, has said that the federal government will soon reveal the identities of important personalities behind oil theft in the country. Speaking on Trust TV's Daily Politics program on Friday, Shehu hinted that there might be cases of some law enforcement agents engaging in the illegal act, but said that new measures were being taken to put a stop to it. He said it is embarrassing for Nigeria not to meet up with the quota given to it by the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC.
We ought to see more commitment by communities in assisting law enforcement, where communities, or even in some cases, some actors in the law enforcement process are themselves complicit. It becomes we are unable to meet our OPEC granted quotas. We used to fight OPEC, give us more quota. They give us quota, we are not able to. This is very embarrassing. And as we speak today, you know that the Nigerian Navy, the Army, they are massively involved. In fact, all of the security agencies are massively involved. I'm hoping that in the next few days, Office of the National Security Advisor will be presenting to the nation big men who are promoters of this kind of business, who are beneficiaries of it. They're being caught. And the illegal refineries are being bombed out. Crude oil is being, and the NNPC is being recovered, and the NNPC has itself installed a monitoring capacity.
The Borno State Stakeholders Consultative Forum of the National Senior Citizens Center, NSCC, has committed to ensuring that concerns and matters of older persons and aging are prioritized in the state. They gave the assurance in Maiduguri during a meeting with the NSCC Director General, Dr. M.M. Omokaro. The report.
The meeting came on the sidelines of the DG's engagement while in Borno State to attend the 2022 World Humanitarian Day and flag off of payment of one-off grants to the vulnerable in the state by the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Hajia Sadia Umar Farouk. More of a crucial advocacy engagement, the Director General renewed her appeal on the need for state governments to domesticate the National Senior Citizens Center Act 2017 and the National Policy on Aging 2021. Achieving this, the DG said, will properly situate federal government's resolve through the National Senior Citizens Center to reposition and give pride of place to senior citizens in Nigeria. Leading the delegation of the Vice Chairman and members of the Consultative Forum to the meeting were the Co-Chairman, Hassan Mustafa and Ambassador Ahmed Shehu. The National Senior Citizens Center's National Stakeholders Consultative Forum on Aging is a platform for coordinating all the state's steering committees and sharing progressive ideas on aging and related matters.
The services of area court judges have been abolished by the Nasarawa State Judicial Service Commission. Secretary of the Commission, Yahya Yakubu Shafa, made this position known at a press briefing in Lafia. Abubakar Abdullahi sent in the report as presented from our studio.
Briefing pressmen after the Nasarawa State Judicial Service Commission regular meeting, the Secretary explained that the decision followed the Nasarawa State Legal Notice of 2022, which repealed the state customary and area court laws. Shafa explained that the decision of the Commission to dissolve the area court judges is not to witch hunt anyone, but to ensure that capable hands pilot the affairs of the judiciary.
The Commission dissolved all inspectorates and area courts in the state forthwith. The Commission also directed the judges to stop sitting immediately. Judges and personnel in these courts are to be redeployed by the Judicial Service Commission. The effect of this order is that posting of the staff going forward will be done by the Judicial Service Commission.
While informing that the Commission equally approved the conversion of 234 staff out of 296, the Secretary noted that the appointment of 2 staff was terminated over absenteeism, among other sanctions meted on hearing staff.
The Judicial Service Commission approved the termination of the appointment of 2 staff of the Judicial Service Commission for absenteeism. Furthermore, The petition against Honorable Seni Lawal, the Chief Registrar of the Customary Court of Appeal, for refusal to release copy of the judgment of the court in suit number UACN CV 75 2003, delivered on 5th August 2021, that is 8 months after the final addresses of counsel. The commission condemned the act in strong terms after receiving the officer's response to the complaint and directed that a very serious reprimand be issued to the officer.
He reaffirmed the Commission's efforts to put the interests of its members at the forefront with the aim of achieving sustainable growth and development, adding that all area court judges will be redeployed accordingly.
You're still watching Trust TV News Hour. The news continues after this break. You stay with us.
That's great. It's good to see you.
Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us on Trust TV News Hour. Now, reactions have continued to follow President Muhammadu Buhari's reversal of his authorization of the acquisition of the entire share capital of Mobil Producing Nigeria Limited by Seplat Energy Offshore Limited. The move put the presidency on the side of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, which had earlier declined the $1.3 billion transaction. Industry watchers were concerned about the desperate voices in the deal, especially as presidential spokesman explained that the previous misunderstanding surrounding the president's approval was because the agencies involved had not coordinated well among themselves. Now in this report, Chairman Dabeng explores the twists and turns surrounding the cancelled deal. Her report is presented from our studio.
A statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, revealed that President Buhari consented to acquisition of ExxonMobil shares by Seplat Energy Offshore Limited, way to attract foreign direct investment to the country. So, what informed the president's U-turn on the matter? Apparently, there were intrigues, especially as the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited and the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission had rejected the deal. An ex-oil worker, Kelani Mohammed, says although the decision was taken in good faith, the nation's oil company, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL should have been allowed to exercise their right of first refusal.
Mr. President rescinded his decision to actually transfer ExxonMobil Unlimited to Seplat. The Mr. President was earlier advised by some of his aides who were thinking that direct foreign investment is a way out for it. They didn't look at the rudiments, the pros and cons, the losses that Nigeria will actually incur in the process.
Nigeria has in recent times been hit by divestments from major foreign oil companies, raising concerns that this could affect foreign direct investment in the country.
It's a joint venture, and for over that 55 years, NNPC has been partnering with ExxonMobil and other international companies, oil companies. So for them to say they are leaving, the asset is worth over $1.3 billion US.
The arrival of the Dangote refinery has been lauded as a game changer. However, will it be the savior of Nigeria's petroleum sector?
The 650,000 barrels refinery in Lagos of Dangote, Nigerians should not put so much hope, because Dangote, as a businessman, he will refine the products and sell at international market. With the repositioning of NNPC, the importation of refined petroleum products will reduce drastically, because the Port Harcourt refinery is coming on stream very soon. The Warri refinery and petrochemicals, they are being rehabilitated now. We will be producing our own refined products here, and I believe since the NNPC is now a commercialized company, there will be competition.
The Nigerian National Petroleum Company, NNPC, has since won a court injunction restraining ExxonMobil Corporation from selling its assets in Nigeria. The level of divestments by major oil companies in the oil and gas sector, experts say, might not be unconnected with the harsh operating environment characterized by monumental oil theft that is undermining the nation's ability to benefit from the resources.
The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has commenced a nationwide crackdown of all illegal manufacturers and distributors of an intoxicant called Kuskura, herbal aphrodisiacs, alcoholic bitters, and other preparations. The Director General of NAFDAC, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, disclosed this on Friday while briefing newsmen in Abuja. The NAFDAC boss said findings from various operations carried out revealed a dangerous trend in the use of such substances laced with a high concentration of tobacco and sometimes cannabis by the populace, cutting across gender and age groups, particularly artisans and Okada riders, among others. Professor Adeyeye said recently the agency received a series of reports on the use of herbal preparations, particularly in the southwest and northern axis of the country. The Acting Controller General of the Nigeria Immigration Service, NIS, Idris Jere, says plans are underway to recruit an additional 5,000 personnel into the service. Jere, who stated this while fielding questions from newsmen in Dutse on Saturday, said the gesture was aimed at addressing manpower deficit in the NIS. He added that the Minister of Interior, Rauf Aregbesola, had sent a memo to President Muhammadu Buhari, who indicated his willingness to approve the request. The acting CG, who also paid a condolence visit to the family of an NIS personnel killed by gunmen in Birniwa local government area of Jigawa State, assured that the NIS will continue to protect Nigerian borders to enhance peace and development. The CG announced the donation of 4 million naira to the deceased family, donated by one of NIS's service providers, Contank. The World Health Organization, WHO, has published its first guideline for Ebola virus disease therapeutics, with new strong recommendations for the use of 2 monoclonal antibodies. According to the World Health Organization, clinical evidence shows 2 monoclonal antibodies treatments are effective at saving the lives of many people stricken with the deadly Ebola virus. WHO team lead for clinical care, Janet Diaz, while calling on the global community to increase access to these life-saving medicines, says the evidence underpinning the recommendations come from 2 clinical trials. Diaz says the 2 recommended therapeutics have shown clear benefits for people of all ages, adding that they can be used on all patients confirmed positive for Ebola virus disease. Now for a look at the foreign scene, where national talks on the future of Chad that the ruling junta says will pave the way for elections commenced on Saturday after delays and boycotts. More than 1,400 delegates from the military government, the civil society, opposition parties, trade unions and rebel groups are in the capital, N'Djamena, for the national dialogue that is scheduled to last 3 weeks. The talks are the brainchild of junta chief General Muhammad Idris Deby. He said the forum should open the way to free and democratic elections after an 18-month rule by the junta, a deadline that France, the African Union and others have urged him to uphold. Deby took power in April 2021 at the age of 37 after his father, who ruled for 30 years, was killed during a military operation against rebels. And Washington on Friday announced that it will be providing $775 million of additional military aid to Ukraine. The news came as Kharkiv, Ukraine's second largest city, is hit with fresh strikes, killing at least 15 people. A Russian missile hit a residential area in the southern Ukrainian town of Voznesensk, located not far from a nuclear power station, wounding 12 civilians and heightening fears of a nuclear accident. Meanwhile, Russia's President Vladimir Putin has agreed in principle that independent inspectors can travel to the Moscow-occupied Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant. A number of issues, however, must be resolved before the inspections get underway. And in sports, the federal government has set up a 12-man committee to work towards the successful production and second launch of the Sports Book of Record, with a view to documenting athletes' achievement for posterity. The Minister of Youth and Sports Development, Sunday Dare, while inaugurating the committee on Saturday in his office in Abuja, called on the committee to ensure the production and launch of a one-stop shop document for the country's sportsmen and women, as well as their achievements, both past and present, to ensure that their sacrifices are written in gold and documented accordingly. Represented by the ministry's permanent secretary, Alhaji Ismaila Abubakar, Dare charged the committee to be proactive and approach the assignment with utmost responsibility and patriotism. Responding, the chairman of the committee and director planning, research and statistics of the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development, Victoria Agbo, thanked the leadership of the ministry for the opportunity granted to them to serve and pledged the committee's commitment to the successful production and launching of the record book. And on a sad note, a veteran Ghanaian journalist and former production editor, Nii Buli, had died. Nii, who worked almost all his life in Nigeria, died on Friday, August 19th in Accra, Ghana, at the age of 82. He joined Daily Trust newspapers as head of sub-editing table and later moved to the production desk. He worked there until late 2019 when he retired and returned to Ghana in December 2021. Nii, who died at his family house in Jamestown, Accra, left behind 4 children and grandchildren. And that wraps up Trans TV News Hour for tonight. For more news, you can subscribe to watch us live on YouTube and of course follow us across all our social media platforms. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Have a good evening.